Bourbon, Broncos, and no BS. Fans, brews, and Broncos news.
What is going on, Broncos country? We are approximately 1 hour away from kickoff, and Adam and I are here to talk about this upcoming game against the Chargers in the final game of the regular season, the importance, some of the last-minute injury updates that we have for you, and the who's in, who's out, and how this game is going to shape up. But we're here for you. Please make sure you guys are hitting those comments and letting us know what you think about this game coming up. Adam, how you doing today, man?
It's the season finale. It always feels like this should have been a bigger game right before last week. But any time that the orange and blue are going to get on Sunday is always a good day. So I'm in a great mood. I got to bust out my my throwback Randy Gradishar jersey, which I don't get to do a whole lot of. So since we're wearing the throwbacks today, I felt this was a good time to bust it out.
I like it. Yeah, I'm only wearing the hat right now. I got a bunch of other throwback stuff, but I didn't throw it on today. Yeah, no, I'm glad that we're talking about this now, because when David does join us for the show, that's all he's going to want to talk about for the first hour. And so we'll just get out of the way. Broncos in the throwback unis for the third time this year, I believe.
Yes, that is correct.
Yeah, so they're going to be out there looking good in the throwback unis. And then that's all we're going to say on it for the rest of the show, because I don't think there's much more to say.
Hold on a second, Jared.
And so, anyways, as we move on to the
Wow. Okay. All right. I see you, Jared. I see you. Just because I came on in my brand new throwback.
That is
nice. I like it.
There it is.
It is a nice jacket.
And you came with the the salute to service. That is no, that's nice. I love that one. That's a good one. Yeah. How we doing, fellas? How you feeling today?
I'm feeling good.
Good,
Man.
Feeling ready to smack up the Chargers a little bit.
Yeah, let's hope so. I mean, losing the first one blew. It was like. I mean, obviously, we only lost 3 games so far this year, so I can't be too mad. But that first loss to the Chargers, you're like, oh man, come on. But obviously, the loss to the Colts was rough with the field goal thing. But that loss to the Chargers was one of those times that you're just like, I just hate losing to divisional round opponents, and if we could at least get one out of them, I'd love it.
Exactly.
Yeah, and we haven't beat the Chargers since Sean Payton took over as head coach of the Denver Broncos, I believe. They certainly haven't they didn't beat him at all last year. And so it would be really, really nice to get, no Justin Herbert, no Amari and Hampton. Come on, take care of business, guys.
I thought I read somewhere that despite the 23-10 record that Bo Nix has as a starter, I think he has not beaten the Chargers yet in his
That's
2
right.
years. So like you were saying, David, it's not going to be the same today, because it kind of looks like that the Chargers are waving the white flag, and it's going to be just basically a tune-up game for everybody. But Denver still has a ton to play for today, and it is still a big game from that perspective, because there is a big difference between being the 1 seed and being the 3 seed.
Yeah.
And so let's hope. I mean, I think we're all confident that Denver's going to take care of business today.
Yeah, obviously we're playing for a lot more. The big part about this is Sean Payton and what he's saying in the locker room is all around, okay, now the goal is to play at home and forget the bye week. If you could just forget the bye week completely, say you didn't get a bye week this next week, the playing at home all the way through the playoffs is a lot more important than I think people think. And if you looked at the history of people who have gotten the first round in the AFC, the odds that they go to the Super Bowl because they have to go to their home turf is really high. And I think I like those odds, and I think Sean Payton does too. So we're going to come out, we're going to play exactly like we need to be able to win the game, and we're not going to hold back.
Yeah, absolutely. What do you guys think? And Jared, we talked about this a lot in the pregame podcast, so I'm going to throw it over to Adam first. Adam, who do you think? What do you think is the most important thing to see from this Broncos offense today? Given that the Chargers aren't going to probably be resting many of their starters on defense.
Honestly, I'm looking for kind of the same offensive approach that we've seen the last few weeks, where it's going to be more ball control and maybe calculated, measured shots down the field. But it's going to be a lot of dink and dunk a little bit. And it's also going to be a big mix of RJ Harvey, who has really been kind of the catalyst for the offense so far. Maybe not as glossy numbers running the football, but if you look at it in the fourth quarter, dude is averaging 4.7 yards a carry and has been just the workhorse that you need to kind of salt away games. And he's also given Bo Nix that third receiving option out of the backfield too. So I really want to see Harvey continue to kind of cement his place in the offense. And I just want to see them put points on the board. No 3 and outs, no crazy rallies that you need either at the end of the half or at the end of the game. Let's be efficient. Let's play like we know that we're capable of playing like we've seen in the Kansas City game, and it maybe even that Dallas game maybe earlier in the year. We do have the throwbacks again, so maybe they go out and look like world beaters again against a defense that's going to be playing for pride, but is also not going to be playing for a whole lot either.
Yeah. I want to see the Broncos that we saw versus the Cowboys and the Broncos that we saw versus the Packers. So that's the offense I want to see. But you're right. Every single week is different. Each defense is different. We're playing for different things. But I do think that we need to drive the ball down. We need to get scored. We need to score on each drive. We can't let our punter be out there too much. We got to keep the ball in our hands, score on each drive, because we know that, regardless who's playing quarterback, Trey Lance or whoever, they have a chance to score on each drive too. And any given Sunday, the ball might bounce a certain way, and we have to be able to be ahead of that, which I think what we had last week. Right, the ball didn't bounce our way a couple times, and we still ended up with the win. But that's what we need to do, is we need to go out there and just play good Bronco football. Like, just keep our nose to the our nose to the ground and just keep pushing forward. And a big part of this is just we need to score. We need to score on every drive.
Yeah, and I'm wondering if this is a situation where you see the Broncos bust out a few more of their you see Sean Payton bust out a little bit more of a trick play, something you know how our boy likes to do, and especially against a quote unquote tough defense like the Chargers have. I can see Sean Payton trying something silly that makes Broncos country groan.
Well, I mean, he has in the last 4 games. I think there's been at least one play that everyone's like, "Come on, Sean! Like,
right?
Is that necessary? Like, I get what you're trying to do, but you could go without that, really."
Really, yeah.
All right, let's get into some comments here as we come in. Michael, welcome to the room. Jose, yeah, looking for that home field advantage, #1 seed. Let's see. Michael letting us know that Myles Garrett did get this single season sack record of 23 with a sack today. Ayla joining us. Welcome, Ayla. Let's see. Sherbert might be 3-0 against Knicks, but he's yet to win the AFC yet, let alone the #1 seed. I don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves here. We need to win today to get that #1 seed. But yes, you're right. Knicks is doing better there. Let's see. Andrew, let's talk about this for a little bit. And we talked about it on Tuesday's show. I think we talked about it a little bit on the pregame. There's been a lot of concern with dropped passes. Right. Now, before anybody brings up statistics, I would like someone to show me what constitutes a dropped pass before we go any further than that. But what do you guys think? There have been a few big time dropped catches in some big times. Do we think that that's actually a concern? Or are we getting a little worked up for no reason? Complete pun intended with your name, Andrew.
Go ahead, Adam.
I don't know what the actual qualification is per se, like you're talking about, Jared, with as far as what is a drop. I do know that you kind of would hope Courtland Sutton would maybe help you out a little bit in some of those situations, even though he did have tougher drops that he had these last 2 games versus Kansas City, and then I believe he had another one versus Jacksonville that we're kind of hoping that he may have come up with. I don't know that it's a massive concern, but it is one of those things that if we are talking about offensive efficiency, then yeah, you want these guys, keeping hanging on to the ball, because it is the difference between extending a drive and having to maybe put yourself in field goal position in order to get a chance at some points, and being able to punt the ball. So I would like to see some more efficiency there, definitely. And especially I need to see something from Evan Ingram today. I really need to see. And I know that if you look at the numbers, it hasn't been maybe as bad as what was expected, but I haven't seen an impact from him. And I would really want to see something like that going into, at least maybe see something resembling a place where he has in the offense. But I mean, David, what do you think about the drops, and what do you think about just the receiving part of the game, just for this game specifically?
Drops are always going to be one of those things that are really visible and frustrating to fans. And it's especially, it's in an offense where it feels like you're always just like 1 or 2 plays away from really getting some momentum going. Like ours has felt like at large portions throughout the year. Drops can be, of course, extra frustrating to those fan bases. But it does feel like this kind of situation where you would have to I'd really like to have some statistics put in front of me before I make a definitive statement about how bad the Broncos drops really are this season.
So that's what I'm getting at. And Michael, I'm not saying I don't know what a drop pass is. What I'm saying is, if you look on the statistics, I think we're number 2 in drop passes if you Google us. And Google tells us that's what a drop pass is. But we also had and Kev will get his ego blown up when he knows we mentioned him on the show. But Kev talks about he'll be texting us. He's at the game. He's having a good time. There's a lot of excitement, and then Courtland Sutton goes up for a pass. He's fully extended because it wasn't a great throw. And then it hits him in the hands. The guy comes out and slaps it out his hands. And everyone's like, he should have caught that. Maybe, right?
Right,
there's probably 3 or 4, 9 times out of 10, no wide receiver is going to catch that. The one time you want him to and you need him to, yeah, you'd like him to. But I don't consider that a drop pass. Now, RJ Harvey's slant, and I don't know if it was versus Kansas City or Jacksonville, I don't remember which one. That was just a drop pass. That was in his hand, great ball thrown. There's a couple times that you've seen Evan Ingram get targeted 5 or 6 times a game, but he only gets 1 catch. And you're like, what's wrong with Evan Ingram? And you're like, well, if you looked at the freaking balls he's getting thrown, they're thrown at his feet. And he's behind him at his feet. Not a lot of wide receivers are catching that. And a lot of times, there's a lot that goes into that. But what I'm saying is, when I mentioned I want to know what that requires in the statistics, is if it hits you in the hands, is it a drop ball? If it hits me, if I'm running full speed and I'm trying to reach back like this and it hits my one hand, is that considered a drop? You know what I mean? I just don't know what that is. And that's what I've seen a lot of times. And I don't want to blame the wide receivers for a lot of the dropped passes that we're probably getting credit for on the receiving side. Bo needs to deliver the ball a little bit better too. And that's just a fact. And he's learning, he's getting there. You've seen some very beautiful balls from him, but he's not super consistent with it. He needs to be able to lead the receivers a little bit better. And most of those drop passes are on times he's running for his life as well. So we also got to get better at that. But in general, again, we're looking at the number 1 in the AFC, and I don't want to get too wrapped up in the negatives of this one. But I'm with you. Let's talk about this Evan Ingram thing, because we talked a little bit on the pregame podcast too, David, and I brought this up, and it was one of my tangents. I think that Evan Ingram is fitting exactly the way he was supposed to when we got him, right? He's a guy that can make the plays, but he's not the number 1 guy in the offense. And I think David or Spotty mentioned this in Jacksonville, and I forget where he was before that, New York, I think. He was the only wide receiver, really. And so, he had 1,000-yard seasons. He had, 100 catches per season. He's not getting that here because he's not the only guy, but we have him as an outlet, and you've seen it. And I think I'll never forget it. And I think it was it's probably 4 or 5. It was right when I got back from deployment, and it was a game that I was watching, and he caught the ball in the middle of the field at the 10-yard line, and then drug 3 defenders in with him into the end zone. And I was like, that's why we got this guy. It's not to be the number 1 guy. It's not to be the guy that we always go. He's not the Travis Kelce. He's not the guy we always have to go to. he's the guy that when we need him to do it, he's going to do it. And I think that's what we're going to see. And to your point, Adam, if you listen to the pregame podcast, we talk a lot about this linebacking core being of the three sections, linebacking core, defensive backs, and defensive linemen being the thing that we can target the best with Perriman being out. And I think that's what we need to do is we need to use Evan Ingram to attack it. Uh-oh. He had himself in and he's muted. And is it windy there?
The camera's facing the wrong way. Yep.
Well,
no, man, just
that was a better view than what we wanted to see.
This is a special Kevin appearance if there ever was one.
This is terrible internet right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is Kevin's seven shot skis and 3 beers deep.
Yep.
From the pregame tailgate.
And he caused somebody to spill their shot ski because he wasn't tall enough, and everybody else had to. Yeah.
That did happen. That did happen.
That happened.
Can I move this thing? No, I don't want to move you.
Anyway, obviously, Kevin at the game, and we are having a live view from the stadium, which doesn't really look as good as it would if we were at the game with Kev. But once again, that is okay. Still cool to have him there. What guys who's going to the playoffs? That's the real question. Who wants to shell out $600 for playoff tickets? I kind of do. I've never been to a playoff Broncos game before. That would be pretty rad.
It would be, but I'd also have to shell out another $300 for the flight. So
yeah, that's true. Andrew says at least Kevin's not appearing from the bathroom, and that is true. The view with Kevin in the bathroom would not be very inspiring at all.
I would much rather see a view of the stadium than the view of a stall from the stadium. So
And again, camera placement is important there. You got to make sure your camera's facing the right way, depending on what you want us to see. Beautiful day in Denver, guys. Let me know. So Kev mentioned a little bit in the chat. The reason he's not here is because it's like on the voice is because it's super windy there, gusty. He said it goes. The flag on the uprights go from 0 to 90 degrees real quick, real fast. Do we think that's going to play an impact into this game?
It's interesting. Looking outside my window, I'm not having that much of a wind experience right now, but Kevin is in a little bit of a different part of the city than I am right now. So we'll see. We'll see. Hopefully it's not a game where you need a last-second field goal to decide things for you.
I mean, who knows with this Broncos team, right? But I don't know. Like, I didn't notice anything really as far as the weather was going to cause a factor for today. I'm kind of with you in that, but I can say that the weather in the stadium is a little bit different. There can be gusts that kind of kick up during the game. I would say if we had maybe a not as strong armed quarterback, maybe once they get Stidham in there again, maybe we're counting chickens before they hatch a little bit. But I tend to get back to Evan Ingram a little bit, just looking at his stats, 47 catches for 416 yards and 1 score. Obviously the single one is a little disappointing, but if you're getting 50 balls from your tight end as your essentially your third or fourth option, look, I mean, I know that we're probably looking, I know that we've been looking for more from Evan Ingram. But almost 450 yards and 50 catches from your tight end spot, which is like your fourth option, isn't terrible. Yeah. And RJ Harvey is, been that guy out of the backfield too, and he's creeping up on 50 balls too. So to have your top 4 options have like 75 catches, 60 catches, 50 and 50, it's actually not, it's not terrible.
Yeah. Well, and that's what I like about the team too, and I think people forget about that. Like, would we like to look at the stats and be? I'm with you. I'm like, would we like to look at the stats and be like, hey, I want him to have 1,000-yard season. I want every one of our wide receivers to have a 1,000-yard season, but that means that Bo's throwing for 7,000. Like, that's not going to happen, right? And so, with that being said, I think it's nice that he spreads the ball out every single week. It's not one person getting it. There was I forget what game it was that we were watching. I think it was who was before Jacksonville. Whoever it was, the Packers game. And it was like little Jordan Humphrey got a touchdown, and then like a fake Franklin got 2, and then I forget who the third. Oh, our fullback, right? It's like so So we're like looking at the ball's being spread around. It's not one, and we don't have to focus on one person. Now, do we focus on one person on third and medium, third and long? Absolutely. Cortland Sutton's getting that ball. But other than that, he's spreading the ball around. It's getting to other people, and I kind of like that. It makes it harder for the defense to play against you. It makes it harder for them to game plan against you when you don't have to stop the one guy. You now have to stop the whole field. You can't just shut down one side of the field because he'll just figure something else out and he'll find somebody else.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's part of his growth this year too. It really, there's areas where Bo hasn't grown as much as we want him to this year, and or areas where, and I'll get to that in a minute because I think we'll have a really interesting conversation this offseason about how Bo can really improve this year. But I think he's done a really good job diagnosing the whole field this year, seeing what the defense is offering. He's playing better against zone coverage this year. He's playing better against pressure this year. And it's just because of the way I think that he's able to see things pre-snap. I think it's another testament to that is that he's just distributing the ball so well to all his different targets. Yeah.
The one thing I want to see is the quick throws. I think, and we'll talk about this in the offseason, and I don't want to make this negative.
They're all behind the line of scrimmage. That's the thing. There's quick throws,
that's what I mean.
Quick throws in this offense, and they're all behind the line of scrimmage. And I don't.
I want to see if you looked at all those fantastic quarterbacks, and I know I'm putting this out there, and I don't want to put this out in the world, but like the Tom Brady's, the Peyton Mannings, those guys, they could diagnose a defense and see what they're in, and then get the ball out of their hands to their tight end or their slot receiver within a half a second of touching the ball, and they're upfield already 5 yards. Running for an extra 3, and just the ability to be able to do that, to be able to diagnose that. I think that's where it's still coming, and I think it's just the quickness of the game, and he's still getting there. And I don't want to spend too much time like that.
We'll do that too, right? Because it's like, all right, I'm getting this look from the defense. If they actually give me this, then I know my outlet on this play is this. If they rotate into this coverage, I know that I need to do this on this play because that's what this receiver is running. It's just a lot of that is just going to be more reps, right?
Yeah, but what you have seen, which is awesome. Sorry, Adam, have seen, which is awesome, is that last year our biggest concern with him is he was always looking for the deep play, and there was a couple at the beginning of the season where we were like, dude, stop throwing. You and Troy Franklin are not on the same page still. Maybe we just kind of I don't know, mix it up a little bit. But what you've seen is he's not always looking for the big. We're getting the medium yards. We're getting the upfield 5 yards. He's throwing those balls a lot more now than he was before, and it's not either a super deep shot to Franklin or a screen. And so that's what I like about him is he's actually reading a little bit more of the intermediate stuff as opposed to trying to go for the big play. And now I still would like to see a big play every once in a while. And we have the touchdown last week, I think, was a big one to Cortland Sutton. Just an absolutely beautiful throw and beautiful read. And so, those are still there. But I also like the fact that he's reading the intermediate stuff. Sorry to cut you off, Adam.
Oh, no, I was actually what I wanted to point to was that throw to Cortland Sutton in the Kansas City game where he actually makes the adjustment at the line, sees where the defense is playing in coverage, and just fits a beautiful ball, right, and just layers it perfectly over the squatting, corner and the safety that's in the shell. I think that's just going to be a maturation part of his game, like what you're saying. Last season, it seemed like if he didn't have everything diagnosed, he was either taking the deep shot or he was just kind of bailing and taking off. And I think this year you're seeing more where he's trying to hang in the pocket and make that play almost to his detriment, where we kind of want him to maybe take off and scramble a little bit more. But as the season has progressed, I think you've seen him be able to find a better feel for when to take that shot deep or just to get that ball down and keep the chains going. Especially since, the Denver has been a time of possession monster in some of their wins lately. And I think that's been a big credit to the run game and just kind of keep short passing, short controlled passes. I know we hate the RPO game or we hate the screen game, but we've been using it more effectively lately. So I think this offense that what you see in kind of dink and dunk and managing it, I think that's probably going to be the offensive approach kind of going forward, even going into the playoffs. But David, what do you think?
I don't know, because it feels like this offense has another gear to it. It feels like there's more they can access. We've seen them do it we've seen him do it in spurts, and it's just they haven't been able to do it consistently. And what I think that it kind of takes me back to my conversation of like, what do we need to see Bo Nix improve on next year? It's just like, what are you doing with your feet? And it's not a question necessarily of Bo Nix has to completely do over his footwork. Just because Bo Nix likes to have his feet moving when he throws the football is not necessarily in and of itself a bad thing. And we know that that's true. We've heard Kurt Warner say it. We've heard other people say it. We've just got to get him and Sean Payton on the same page about when it's okay to be doing that and like what you need to be doing from the pocket specifically and what you need to be doing when the pocket closes in around you and you need to step up. And it's just because I think that we see that a little bit too much. I think we see that Bo can really create with his feet and do a really good job of throwing an accurate football when he's moving right to left or left to right. When he's moving up in the pocket, it feels like things can just get a little bit away from him. It feels like his feet get too active, and he overthrows it, or he underthrows it, or he just doesn't have it quite there. And that's really, I think, where he needs to just kind of fine tune a little bit. Because if he gets that going, I feel like that part of his game can really take the Broncos offense to another level if he gets that ironed out.
Yeah. There's the pros and cons to that with the settling the feet in the pocket. The con is it's harder to escape.
Yeah, and you don't want to coach it too much.
Feet, you don't want to coach it too much because he's done pretty well at the art of the escape. And another pro to him and things that we've seen him do is his ability to actually read pressure has gotten significantly better. There was a couple times where he was trying to escape a pocket, like a perfectly clean pocket. We're like, what are you doing? And then there are times he just didn't see someone. So he's gotten a lot better at being able to diagnose pressure, but that's because of the feet situation. Like if you keep your feet moving, you have a quicker reaction time to be able to escape than you would if you try to, do a little bit more of a set foot thing. So there's a lot that goes into there. It's more of just the practice and getting down with the receivers, making sure that the timing's good and knowing where they're going to be. The interception against Kansas City, we talked about in the pregame podcast. If he flips his hips a half a second earlier, that's not intercepted. That's a catch for a first down by little Jordan Humphrey. If little Jordan Humphrey comes back to the ball, that's a first down for Denver and not an interception. But all those things being said, we're nitpicking. And I want to bring us back to what's really happening here. We can clinch the number one in the AFC and first round bye in home field advantage with a win today against the Chargers. We kind of got off on a little bit of a tangent there, and I blame Michael for bringing up the drop passes thing because that's all we've been talking about now. But no, I really do think that the Broncos have a really good shot here, and it's not just because Justin Herbert's not playing. I really do think that the Denver Broncos have a very good shot of beating this team early in the season if we played again now. Right? If we played their full healthy team, I think we have a good shot. Now we just got to go out there and prove it. We got to do it for everybody. How are we feeling about it before we go into halftime?
I think we forget the first game ended. The Broncos offense had a game-winning drive in that game. They did they did what they were supposed to do, and Justin Herbert was just Justin Herbert at the end. And it's just they got into field goal range, and that was the end of it. I think the Broncos. It's a hard team to play against, but no Broncos fan should be intimidated by the matchup today.
No,
absolutely, and I think Denver has shown in the last 2 years that when they're the better team, they usually come out on top. And even if the teams were full strength and it was full strength against full strength today, I still would like our chances. The fact that you're going to be playing the LA junior varsity on offense, and I don't know what LA is going to want to put on film for a potential playoff opponent at this point. So I'm just getting like the vibes from last year and the finale last year, where it just kind of seemed like this was almost a exhibition game. And I think that obviously Denver has everything to play for. Everything is in front of them right now. They can go take it as long as they just take care of their business today.
Yep. I think that's a big part. All right, guys, stick around for our score prediction and the score prediction challenge. This is the last one of the regular season. We're going to keep doing it in the playoffs, so we'll be here for that as well. But if you correctly guess the score of the game after we do the halftime and we start doing our score predictions, please, put your score prediction in. If you win and you correctly, the Broncos have to win, and you get the score correct, you get a Bo Nix jersey for our 10th anniversary here at Bourbon Broncos No BS. So get ready for that. Start thinking about how that's going to look out for you and what you guys think. David, I was telling Adam before the show, I think I already forgot what I said in the pregame podcast, even though it just recorded yesterday. Short-term memory loss. But I'll think about it, and maybe I'll go back and listen to it in the half. So real quick, guys, we can bring you a lot of content here at Bourbon Broncos No BS. Tuesday nights are our flagship shows. That's where you can find most of your big talks. It's an hour show there on YouTube and Facebook. So make sure you guys are hitting that subscribe button on YouTube so that you can get notified when we go live there. Then you can listen to the pregame podcast on all of your podcast listening sites, right? iTunes, Google Play, wherever you guys get your podcast, go ahead and go listen to those. Make sure you guys hit the subscribe button there. Also rate us if you have a chance. That definitely helps the algorithms and whatever internet stuff. And then you're listening to the Tailgate Talk, which is an hour before any kickoff. We will be here talking about, just having drinks with you guys, just like we were out at the tailgate and hanging out and talking Broncos football and what we expect from this game as we get ready for the game coming up. And then we'll be right back here at halftime for the original halftime hash. A good quick 15 minutes of you guys just firing questions at us about how you feel about how the first half went, what we think the second half's going to look like. It's a lot of fun. It's a good time. So make sure you guys come back and join us. And then on Monday night after the game, make sure you guys go to YouTube and listen to the post-game podcast. Adam and Kev do a pretty good job of breaking down what the game looked like, the easy job of just talking about what already happened, as opposed to trying to talk about what might happen. But yeah, no, they do a great job. So make sure you guys go over to YouTube and watch them as well. And then lastly, make sure you guys go over to broncosandbourbon.com. There's only a few weeks left. If you sign up now, you get free entry into the tiered. However, we're going to do the tiers in the next year. And Adam just wrote a great piece over on broncosandbourbon.com. Adam, tell us a little bit about what you're talking about over there on your article.
Basically, what I'm talking about for this week is RJ Harvey has really emerged as a straw that kind of stirs the drink of this offense a little bit. And whether it's running the ball or catching the ball or some of the intangibles he's bringing to the offense, he has been one of the unsung heroes so far. And I think that his role in the NFL second season is really going to be paramount when the scores get tighter, the possessions mean a little bit more, and you're going to be you got to be able to grind out some stuff every once in a while. And he's been a big reason why we've been able to do that. And I think he's going to be counted on to do that again in the playoffs.
Absolutely. All right. Well, welcome back. I'm going to get back to some of these comments here. I'm going to go back down. Let's see. Where do we leave off? Let's see. Ken coming in with penalties, and BJ's D lost the game versus the Chargers last time. Ken is an anti-BJ guy, and we can talk about that in the offseason. He does not like Vance Joseph. He thinks that he's overrated, but I think he's doing pretty well for us. Let's see. Sean coming in with his score prediction. We'll have to come back to that and put it up now because I probably will forget to come back to that. Let's see. Jose, number 1 seed, 14-3, has a chance to have home field advantage. Yes, absolutely. Michael, Atlanta win Carolina over NFC.
You mean that 16-14 drama-filled game yesterday didn't mean anything? Wow.
Nothing. Absolutely nothing. All right, so 27-17 was Jerry's. Clayton with the yep, smash that. And then we know what this means. Clayton, thanks for the start. Appreciate you. Yeah, thank you guys so much. And then we got Sean coming across the pond in London. Let's get the job. Appreciate you joining us, Sean. Thank you so much. All right. Jose coming in with the Chargers, 10-35. All right, so let's talk about who's going to be sitting out. We talked about in the pregame podcast who's sitting out, who's staying in. Sean Perriman is out. Justin Herbert's out. Omari Hampton's out. Who else are we looking at for the Chargers that are not going to be playing in this game? Let's see.
I'm not sure if we've seen an inactives list yet. Let's see here.
Well, I saw one earlier. Let me pull it up. I'm going to go look it up.
All right. Actually, fellas, I've got to take off just a little bit early, unfortunately. It does look like Jonathan Franklin Myers may be inactive.
I did see
yeah, it
JFM.
looks like Jonathan Franklin Myers not going to play, so that's a key scratch for the Broncos. May see Savion Jones activated this week. Either way, looking really forward to it. Have a great game, guys. Thank you so much for joining us. As Jared said, my score prediction, in case anybody was wondering, was 20-16 Broncos. I think it's going to be a very low scoring game, but I do think the Broncos end up on top, and I will see you guys probably at halftime. So,
David, I'm going to hold you because I love holding you from doing things important. Does that change knowing that Derwin James is also not suiting up?
No. I'm going to go with no.
Because that's the easy answer and you want to get out of here?
Yes, exactly right.
Okay, all right. Yeah, sounds good. All right, buddy. Appreciate you. Thank you for joining us. Thank you guys so much.
Yep. See you soon, guys.
See ya. All right, so here's the inactives for the Chargers as we're looking at it. So you got safety Elijah Molden, safety Derwin James, which when we did the pregame podcast, that was kind of our big one that we need to look out for. I mean, he was flying all over the field. He's the guy you got to worry about. And we talked about usually this defense is just going to be their normal defense. It's not. That's basically their quarterback in the defense there. Yeah, it's going to be fun. It'll be interesting to see how that goes over. Running back Omarion Hampton, starting running back, obviously starting quarterback. And then Tuipulotu. If you listen to the pregame podcast, I can't pronounce it. David can pronounce it really well. He said he was worried about two people on defense, and this is why I hate that he left so early. Derwin James and Tuipulotu.
I know who you're talking about. About.
Neither one of them are playing in this game on the defense. He's the guy that can get the pressure on their front line, and he's not going to be playing. Obviously, they have Khalil Mack, and there's other people in there that they have that could obviously get pressure, but he's a big loss for them. And then they have their center and offensive lineman Slayer and Bozeman are both out as well. As far as us, Mercedes Lewis, I believe, is a healthy scratch. The fact that he's still on our team is surprising. Jonathan Franklin Myers, as we talked about before, obviously Dre Greenlaw, we kind of saw that coming. And then a couple people that are special teamers. So, that's a big lot. I mean, we knew that their starting running back and their starting quarterback are out. Their starting safety and their starting defensive linemen are out. Like, those are two big pieces to their game. I feel like they're kind of just trying to rest their guys to go into the playoffs, and we have to be able to take advantage. This cannot be a close game, can it?
I mean, we say that every week.
I know.
This shouldn't be close, and yet, we've seen how the season has played out so far. What I will say is that Derwin James is just always seems to be one of those guys that is just plays great when the games are in Denver. So the fact that he's not going to be out there, I think is already a big plus. I can't say his last name either, but I do know that defensive end that you are talking about. That's another. I mean, it's another big loss. I mean, if they're not going to throw guys out there, and two big contributors on their defense, and from what Harbaugh was saying earlier in the week, is that they're going to be rotating guys in a lot. It's kind of just it has the look and feel of we know we're going to be on the road the first week of the postseason. Let's get this one out of the way, and we'll make our way from there.
This seems like a playoff preseason for them.
A little bit.
Who's going to be able to play against those playoff teams? Who's going to be able to step up against those playoff teams when we get there? Who's going to be good against number ones that we know the Denver's a playoff team. We know that they're going to be out there. Let's put our third string out there, see if he's got the capability to beat a playoff capable offense. Let's put him out there and let's see what happens. And I think that's what we're kind of seeing here, which means we should take advantage.
I 1000% agree. 1000% agree. I think if there is a game, and we've said this a few times now, that if there is a game where the offense needs to look at the very minimum, they need to be efficient. This is one of those games where they're going to have to look good. Obviously, yes, the defenses are going to be a little bit better when we get into the postseason, But even without Derwin James and their defensive end of whose name that we cannot pronounce, this is still a solid defense. This is still a good test for Denver to be able to have a litmus test of where they're going to be in the postseason, and see if this is something that where do they need to make adjustments to their offensive attack, or is this what they can do, against good defenses going forward in the postseason? I personally think they can, as long as it's not, Sean Payton out coaching himself sometimes, maybe ish.
Yeah.
I think if we're kind of being a little basic and a little ham and egg on offense, I know that's not necessarily the sexiest way to win, but I think with the way our defense is constructed, I think that's a recipe for winning football. Just be efficient on offense, play good defense, and you win a bunch of games. I don't know. What do you think?
Yep. I mean, that's exactly what we need to do. I feel like it seems simple. It's not.
Right?
There's a lot more that goes into it, but yeah, we just got to be efficient on offense and then let the defense do their job. And that's kind of what the Broncos have been doing. It's really more of the defense doing their job and the offense following the path, as opposed to the other way around. It'd be nice to have the offense set the tone. Okay, well, it looks like a lot of people. We have about 8 minutes till kickoff here, if my math is right, which I think it is.
Get your abacus out.
Yeah, I got to get.
There you go.
Approximately 7 minutes to kickoff. So let's go ahead, Adam. Let's talk about our score predictions. I'm going to roll through some of the ones that as you go through. I'm going to roll them up on the screen. And yeah, go ahead. What are you thinking about this game? And what do you think the score is going to be?
Oh man, I'm really hoping for. I usually have a pretty good vibe about where the game is going to be at. The vibe all week, I've just been going back to that finale last year where it was going to be the Denver offense and the Denver ones playing the Kansas City backups. I kind of get that same feeling, and I know when this team is locked in, they can be a scary team. I think they're going to be locked in today. I think it's going to be a little bit of a butt kicking, and I think I'm going to go 31-14 Broncos.
Yeah, that's you think it's going to be a butt kick. So all three of us on the pregame podcast talked about how unfortunately all the games that we've gone into as Bronco fans, the Broncos decided that it's going to be close anyway, just for no apparent reason other than why not. And I think that's kind of where I'm at right now. I think this is going to be a slow start. I think we're going to do a lot of things that might be different to try to get ready for the playoffs, just as much as the Chargers are doing with personnel. I think we're going to do it play-wise. We're going to try some new things and see if it works out, see if we can read it and go in from there. But ultimately, I think that, this is a playoff team. Regardless of how you shake it up, regardless of who's playing, there's 11 people on both sides. There's 22 people playing, 22 starters, and then that's not counting special teams. So anybody could step up. Anybody could do the thing that they need to do, and it just doesn't come down to just one person. And I do believe this might be a closer game. As we're going through some of these, Gary with 27-7, 26-20. Andrew also takes a little closer. I think I said something along the lines of 26-17. And I think that just came down to it's going to be close to the first half, I think. And I think it's really until we understand what Trey Lance can and can't do. How do we need to stop Trey Lance? I feel like they get a score right off the bat. Now, maybe not first drive, but in the first quarter, first half, I think they get a touchdown because there's going to be some times that we just don't know what Trey Lance has dialed up for our defense. And he's fighting for possibly wanting to be a starter on another team. He has everything to play for as well. So we can't count him out. But at the same time, everybody he was drafted to. Where was he drafted to? San Francisco.
San Francisco. He was a San Francisco. They're the
he was
that traded up a lot of collateral to take Trey Lance.
Yeah, because they thought he was going to be the guy. That means he has the talent. He has the capability to do things. The Chargers take him and they say, okay, you're going to be a good backup. Let's see what he does. Right, his over/under on rushing yards right now is 30.5. Which I think is kind of funny. They obviously think he's going to be running for his life, but also he's a dual threat quarterback for a reason. But Harbaugh is not. I mean, I guess in Michigan, even the last couple quarterbacks he had there, he's not a big running quarterback type of guy. He's not a dual threat quarterback type of guy. So I'm interested to see if he uses that or if it's just Trey Lance running for his life and not finding an open receiver downfield because we have great coverage, which is probably more likely. But yeah. Big shout out to Garrett getting a sack record today. That is crazy. That is wild. It's unfortunate he plays for a team that is like 3-18, but he gets the sack record. And how do you get a sack record on a team that's that bad? Like, it's unfortunate. All of those things.
When you're that good is when you get those kinds of numbers. To get 20 plus sacks in an 18 game season is kind of sort of ridiculous. When you see that, when you just watch Myles Garrett play, he's an insane athlete. I always kind of hate when we have to play the Browns because you're going to have to find a way to deal with Garrett. But if there's a guy that I like watching when I'm not watching the Broncos, Myles Garrett is definitely one of those guys.
He absolutely is. And yeah, the game is getting ready to start, so we'll close out here in a minute. But I do want to mention, because we're a Broncos podcast and we love to see the Raiders suck, they are officially, as of right now, the worst team in the NFL with the number 1 overall pick with the next year's draft. So that's if we talk about a good year when we can possibly be the number 1 number 1 overall in the AFC, and the Raiders are the worst team in the league. Just a great time to be a Broncos fan, right? That's just a great time. Before we sign off, I did promise a little someone, if she's coming, Mila.
We have a visitor.
She wanted to come on and do our end of the game Go Broncos for the last regular season. So she's gonna. She made a couple props for it. So here she comes. It's our big Broncos fan right here.
Yeah.
All right, well, hey, everybody, thank you guys so much for joining us. Appreciate the likes, comments, and subscriptions. Really appreciate the stars for those that you gave us stars. Thank you guys so much. We love you guys, and we will be right back here at halftime to talk about the Denver Broncos. But final game of this regular season, let's get that number 1 seed. We have nothing else to say but to end it with a very strong, Go Broncos!
Let's go Broncos!
He was just
what I like, sip and go, sip is right, and I go with the flow, yeah, I go with the flow, yeah, I go with the flow, cause I know I'm the show, in the zone, here I go, in the zone, here I go, in the zone, here I go.